Hi guys. Okay, I'm stitching the Cardinal Snowman applique ornament, and it is a 5x7 design. So I've got my cutaway stabilizer hooped, and I've stitched the first color change, which is the placement line, which is stitched directly on the stabilizer. Then I'm going to cover that with my vinyl. This is actually, it's not vinyl, it's like cork fabric. It's not quite as thick as some cork, and I got this from Walmart, and it's really thin and it's really nice to work with. So I'm going to cover my placement line, and then the next color change is going to be the placement line for the center part of the applique. So I'll go ahead and stitch that. Okay, and I've got a piece of denim that I'm going to use for this applique portion, which I'm going to make sure that it covers the lines, and then I'm going to tack that down. Okay, so the denim is attached. Now I'm going to take my applique scissors and just trim right along the stitch line, and then I'll come back and show you that. I'm not going to do the satin stitch right away. There's a couple more, the arms for the snowman go in first, and then the snowman himself, because the satin stitching that goes around the center will actually tack down the snowman. So I'll come back after I do the trimming. Okay, you can see I've trimmed the denim around the tack down line. Now I'm going to run the next color, which puts in the arms for the snowman, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've added the snowman arms, and then I went ahead and ran the placement stitch for the snowman, and I'm going to cover that with my fabric. Like that, and then I'll run the tack down and I'll trim it, and then the satin stitching for the snowman is going to be on both sides. The top is going to be left open because that's where the hat will go. The bottom is going to be left open because that'll be covered in when we do the satin stitching for the border of the circle. So I will come back after I'm done with the snowman. Okay, there's the snowman added. Now the next color change is going to put 2 snowflakes in right here and here. And then the next color then it's going to be the satin stitching all the way around the circle, which will include the bottom of the snowman. So I'm going to go ahead and run both of those, and then I'll come back. Okay, there is the satin border and the snowflakes. Now the next step is going to put the hat on the snowman. So it'll be the placement stitch, then I'll lay my fabric down, do the tack down, and run the satin stitch. So I'll come back when that's done. Okay, there's the snowman's hat. Now the next step is going to be the heart on his stomach, and that's a bean stitch applique, so that's just 2 parts: the placement stitch, cover, run the tack down, and trim around it. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, there is the heart on the snowman. Now the next step is going to stitch out the cheeks and the carrot nose and the eyes and the mouth. So I'll go ahead and run those and come back when that's done. Okay, the snowman's face is on. Now the next step is going to be the holly and the holly berries in his hat. And then I'll come back. Okay, the hat for the snowman is finished. Now the only thing that's left is the cardinal. He's going to go right here. That's he is a bean stitch, so it's the placement line, then put the felt over the placement line, run the tack down, trim around it, and then there's a few little details in the cardinal. So I will go ahead and stitch that and come back, and after that's all done, the next thing to do is I'm going to add a scarf on the snowman, so before I put the backing on. So I will show you how I do that. Okay, I finished the cardinal and I stitched the grommet placement. The last thing I want to do before I attach the backing is to put a hole right on each side of the snowman's neck, and I used an awl for this. You have to be very, very careful that you don't hurt yourself, but you want to punch a hole, making sure that you don't unhoop your project. And then I take a yarn needle just like this and just okay, and this is what I'm going to use for a scarf. Using a yarn needle, I just loaded a piece of ribbon. I'm going to go in one side and up the other so that the scarf ends would be on the front of the project. You be real careful when you do this, and it does help if you use a needle nose pliers, because you don't want to unhoop your project and you don't want to rip it. I'm just working it very gently. I'm going to actually get a smaller needle. I'm going to try a smaller needle. It doesn't want to go through this denim. Okay, I'm going to make my hole slightly bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I used the awl again and made my hole slightly larger, and I was able to pull an end through. Now I'm going to go back down through on the other side and pull this side through. There we go. I just want to make sure that this is flat on the back side, and it is. Okay. Now I'm going to take my ends of the scarf and I'm just going to kind of put them together and tape them out of the way. So that when I attach the backing, they don't get caught in my needle. Okay, and now I'm going to put the hoop back on the machine, just like this. And I'm going to get my backing vinyl, which I'm going to use another piece of cork, and I'll put it right directly underneath my hoop, and then run the vinyl bean stitch, and then I will cut it out and come back and show you how to put the finishing touches on the ornament. Okay, I've got the ornament cut out, and I played around with how I want the scarf. I think I want the scarf to kind of be more on the one side. So I think when after I get the hanger done, I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue right underneath where I want the knot to lay, and then I'll clip these off with pinking shears so that they don't fray anymore, and I think that'll be real cute. So it'll kind of lay like that. So where my grommet placement line is stitched, that's where I'm going to punch my hole for the grommet. Okay, and then using a 2-piece grommet, just like that. Top goes in, back goes on. Just like that. And then I'm going to use the crocodile again to crimp it down. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to get a piece of twine about 10 inches long, which is longer than I need, but it's easier for me to work with. And a piece of painter's tape. Fold my ends in half, just like that. And I'm going to put the painter's tape on the ends and twist them together. And that's how I'll get the beads on. Let me turn this slightly. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So the painter's tape end goes through, come around and grab the other end. Put it through the other end and pull. Okay. And then my beads go on. If you use the painter's tape, you can kind of use it as a needle. And it works real good with getting the wooden beads on. Okay, now my beads are on. I'm going to make a knot right above the top bead. Just like that. Bring it down so it's as close to the beads as possible. Just like that. And then another knot right here. Okay. And then clip off the tape. Okay, and there's your hanger. Now, like I said, for the scarf, I'm going to use my hot glue gun and put just a little bit of hot glue right there to hold the ribbon in place. Just a very small amount. There we go. So it kind of looks like a scarf now. Okay, and then I'm going to take my pinking shears and just cut the ends off where I want them. I go a little bit longer because you can always take more off. And then you can even move the scarf over just a little bit more so it's out of the way of the heart. Which I think I'm going to do. Put another little ball of glue down. Okay, and the heart is still visible, so I'm going to take a button. I like to take a Sharpie and just kind of make a cross in the middle of the button. That way it looks almost like stitching. There we go. And my finger got stuck. Well, the nice thing about hot glue is that it cools very quickly. And then you can just rub it off. Okay. There we go. Very cute. Hope you like it.